I brought it up to my property manager, like, hey, can I like rent out one of the units that we are managing to try to do this arbitrage thing? It was via email, and the manager wrote back like a whole essay on why I shouldn't do it and why this is a scam and why you should not do this because it's a quick, fast money thing and then it's never gonna last. And look at how many people got burned, and that's when I just realized people are afraid of something new, something different. And look, when Uber first came out, people had resistance against that. Oh, what if you get kidnapped? What if this and that? Yeah. Resistance to change. I think that's just most of the reason why people don't think arbitrage is not real estate.
Welcome to the Obsessed with Real Estate show. I am your host, Alana George, and I am obsessed with real estate. I'm really excited to introduce our guest today, Fu Lee with Midmin Housing, and he talks to us today about cash flowing in rental arbitrage. What is rental arbitrage? If you haven't heard of it before, he goes into detail, so you'll just have to listen. We also talk about mindset as well as why some investors don't consider rental arbitrage actually real estate investing. He also tells us about how he got into cash flowing real estate with no money after losing it all in the stock market, and here in Silicon Valley, in one of the most expensive markets in the country. I'm just fascinated by his story and his grit. I'm excited to share with you. Before we do, I just want to address, I do have a cold. My toddler brought home something new and I caught it. Great. It happens. The show must go on. Hopefully I don't sound too terrible, but if you're hearing it, that's what it is. And I'll try not to sniffle through this whole interview. Also, this should be coming out the week of Christmas. So Merry Christmas. I hope that you are spending the holidays with your family, your friends, your loved ones, somewhere warm with delicious food. And as my dad likes to say, our family doesn't do holiday traditions. We just do the same thing every year. Let's get into the show. All right. Welcome, Fu Lee with Midmin Housing. And I'm so excited to interview you. This is a topic that I don't talk about very often with people. It's a little bit taboo, even in some circles, to call it real estate investing. So I'm excited to dive in, and that is arbitrage. And you specifically do midterm arbitrage, correct?
Yes, correct.
Here in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Correct, yeah.
Awesome. So Fu and I have never actually met. This is our first time meeting. These questions will all be, raw and first time. A lot of times with these interviews, I know the majority of the answers already because I already know the people, but this is all new. You were referred to me to be on the show by our mutual friend, Brody Garcia. He's a really great guy, young, motivated, and I was super excited for him to be on the show. And then he referred me to you. So you must be pretty great also. Do you agree?
Absolutely. On both accounts, for him and I.
Cool. So, how did you meet Brody?
It's actually very interesting. I went to a lot of real estate meetups because I am kind of in the real estate industry, just trying to meet more people. And that's how he and I met. And then we just really hit it off as soon as we met each other, talked a lot about mindset and philosophy and, discipline. We just spoke at length for about 2.5 hours. And then at the end of it, we just got each other's contact information and just kept in touch. Yeah.
That's great. Instant friends.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm eager to hear a bit of your background and what led you to real estate investing or not investing, and we'll get into that later too.
Yeah, I've always had kind of like an interest in real estate, like most people. It's really cool to see and own kind of a property, but I actually had a very bad financial time trying to trade the stock market. It was very risky. I lost most of my net worth doing that. And went through a very difficult time. And, as most people do, scoured the internet, Google how to make extra income and what to do. And then I really started getting into real estate, but having no money, I'm not going to be able to afford $1 million home and just to rent it out, get $200-$300 a month cash flow. it's funny because I actually saw rental arbitrage, which is what I'm doing now, on an Instagram post saying, hey, do you want to own real estate without actually buying real estate? And I was like, oh, interesting. Then went down the Google rabbit hole for about 2 months, made a 10-page document on everything that I needed to do, make sure I got all my ducks in a row. And then I just took the leap of faith, just messaged 100 different landlords. Hey, you want me to rent your unit out and like re-rent it to other people? Most of them said, no, of course, you're crazy, go away. And I'm like, okay, bet. And then there'll be about 5 that said, hey, we're interested. And I met up with them. And then of the 5, maybe about 1 or 2 actually wanted to do it. And that's when I just signed the lease, bought all the furniture, and the rest is history.
Amazing. I have so many questions running through my brain. First, can you explain to our listeners what rental arbitrage even is? What are we talking about?
Absolutely. Yeah. So arbitrage is basically connecting 2 different markets, or buying in one market, selling in another market. So with rental arbitrage, I would rent out an empty apartment unit or condo unit long-term. I would re-rent that on a shorter term to travelers. So I would sign maybe a 1 or 2 year lease with the landlords. And since the apartment is empty, I have to put in all the furniture, all the internet, and everything that's ready and set up to go, pots, plates, and pans. I would list it on Airbnb, or we would have it on our own website as well that people can book directly, or Zillow and Facebook or other good marketplaces to try to rent your unit out.
Okay, so essentially it's subletting or subleasing. Right?
Yeah, it is. But a lot of people have a bad connotation of that. So
you tried to, that's a no word. Okay.
Yeah.
You'll find in many leases, right, that it will say no subletting, no subleasing.
Mm-hmm.
And this is exactly what you're doing, is you're leasing it and then leasing it to somebody else at a higher rate and keeping the difference, right?
Yeah.
So what would be beneficial for a landlord to work with you on this?
We benefit the landlord by filling their vacancy first and foremost, right?
Mm-hmm.
But of course, with that, we pay rent just like a regular tenant would. So the landlord has no qualms about that. But their issues would be, what if someone rents the unit from us and they have to throw parties, or what if they do some wild, crazy things in it? Mm-hmm. Or what if they SWAT, right? They stay for free and never want to pay or never pay. Those are legitimate concerns, but due to the nature of our midterm rentals, people are on the move. They're not really there to live. They're there because of a need. It could be a traveling nurse. It could be a corporate employee from out of state who needs to stay here for a couple of months. So they're naturally going to move out and not SWAT. My benefit and what I pitched to the landlords as well is that we will take care of the unit like our own, because it is in my best interest to keep the unit pristine and nice and pretty, so that when one guest moves out, another one can come in and have a new unit. So it really, we're essentially taking care of the property for the landlord.
Yeah, I mean, I see it as beneficial. It's definitely carries a bit of risk, right? Which all investing in real estate does. So it's not like I'm saying this is riskier than others, right? But one of the things that pops into my mind is, what happens if you furnish this unit and then the landlord says that they don't want to rent it to you anymore? Now you have all this furniture.
Good question. In terms of the landlord, that's also why it's good to, treat the landlord as your partner, as a friend, as someone who you do care about and want to work with. All the landlords that I've worked with, they all renewed the lease, no problem, right? They want me to renew the lease because we do take good care of it. And the second thing is, if they do want to kick us out mid-lease, well, we have that lease, so they can't really kick us out anyways. But yeah, and it's just like in business and life, as you take care of the people you work with, then you'll have continued business.
Right. Okay. So you're just providing, such a high quality service and taking care of the unit. You're never late on rent. They have no reason to not renew. So that definitely reduces a lot of your risk, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Since after each tenant moves out, we have photos and we document everything. And if the landlord has questions on the state of their unit, we can just send those photos. So we really are an extension of managing their property for them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Tell me a bit about your first deal that somebody said yes, and then you had to buy this furniture for. What was going through your brain?
Yeah, so I believe it was about either the second or third landlord that I met up with, and I was already kind of disheartened because the other two landlords, they said no, or they just had a lot of questions and it didn't work out. And this one, I finally met up with him. He's a pretty big time landlord. He has about 40 other units. Right off the bat, when he met me there, he said, the only reason I'm renting is you because I like your attitude. So I was like, okay, I'll take that. And with that unit, his tenant really literally just moved out. So how I got that unit as well is I told him I'll do all the cleaning, I'll fix all the minor bumps and scratches, and I'll take care of it, hands off. You don't even have to hire a new cleaning company because I'll do it. He said, okay, handed off the keys. And that's when reality set in. I'm like, what did I just get myself into? The house was freaking filthy. The oven had nasty grime and mildew all over it. Yeah. So I literally spent a whole week just cleaning and make sure it's fine and moved and ready. And got my family involved. They helped me clean for like a day and everything was good. Then after that, just really bought a bunch of furniture from Amazon, the cheapest one that I can find, but that still looks good and still, it's bearable. It doesn't have to be luxury, it doesn't have to be high end, but it's good and it looks good. So that took at least maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks to putting on the furniture, hang up paintings, put in the bed. And the whole time I was just anxious, and because once you sign the lease, the clock is ticking, right? You need to rent it out, or you're going to be paying rent for the next month.
Time is money.
Yeah, and the whole time I was just super anxious, like, oh my God, do I even know what I'm doing? What is this? Like, is this going to work? But finally finished it in about 2 weeks, got the listing up, wrote it on myself, and I think I got somebody in the next couple of days. But the thing I learned is that my pricing was just way too low, which is fine because it was my first unit. I want to just get it rented out as quick as possible so I can at least pay the rent. I could have rented it more than what I did, but that's hindsight. Mm-hmm. But so that's the first unit.
That's amazing. And how long ago was that?
So it was about a year and a half ago, June of last year. Yeah, a year and a half ago.
Yeah. And, calendar math.
Yeah, just call it a year and a half ago.
Just whatever. So, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, from that awesome. First unit, I didn't do anything else for the next 6 months because I really wanted to make sure that I know what I was doing, that I could take care of the tenants, that I could, find a cleaning company because I was not planning to clean it myself every time. I want to scale this. And I went through different cleaners, and now I found one that she's great. She does all my units now, or she has her own cleaning team. But yeah, it was a year and 6 months ago. So
okay. So I want to circle back to this negotiation technique that you used, and I really liked it. So I don't want to pass it over. And that's the importance of making the owner's life easier, right? You said, don't worry about turnover, fixing the unit, cleaning it, get it painted, right? I'll do all that. Just let me sublease it, basically. Let me do that. And he agreed, right? Because you were making his life easier. Mm-hmm. He wasn't going to have to lose money for vacancy and pay for the turnover, right? Mm-hmm. So it was a win-win for him and you. And I think that was really smart of you, despite after you signing it, realizing you just agreed to do all this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, at the end of the day, it's really, if you want to close the deal, it's really just making someone comfortable. Someone, if they feel safe and that they trust you, they'll do the deal, or they'll close it. But you gotta actually care too, like really want to help the landlord, and it's not just trying to make a buck off them. You know what I mean? So
right. Yeah, it's definitely a win-win situation for them for all those reasons. So a good job on that. Tell me about your current portfolio since that first deal.
After my first one, 6 months went by, just want to make sure I knew everything. And then from then on, I added maybe about a unit a month.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. But again, I took a lot of heavy risks though, because, again, I lost most of my money on trading the stock market. So I pulled out tons of credit cards and maxed them out. And, that's to buy all the furniture and pay down the rents.
And
all the
security
income.
deposits. Sorry, security
Yeah,
deposits
security deposits.
too, right? So you have, first month plus security deposit plus your Amazon bill, right?
Yeah, exactly. Amazon bill. I love it. Yeah, exactly.
And cleaning. So.
Yeah, so it does take about 10 to 15,000 per unit, depending on how you do it, all in. So that's what I did. I opened about 2-3 credit cards, and that's how I got my second, third, fourth units and fifth. Yeah, and then from the 6th unit on, I was like, okay, now I maxed all my credit cards. They won't give me any more money. How do I continue to scale? It's very risky. I don't recommend it for everyone, but I like taking risks, and that's, for me, good or bad, it led me here. I don't know. That's when I opened it up to investors now, actually. So 6 now I manage, 3 are with investors, and I'm actually going to open 3 more within the next week, actually, with more investors.
Let me just stop you for a second. When you say that you are working with investors on them, so they're putting up all of the money, and is the lease in their name or yours?
It's actually in their name. So
it's their name. Okay.
Yeah, it's in their name, and then my company is a co-signer.
Okay, and then you are furnishing it and on their dime, and then managing the tenants, and then splitting the profit. Does that sound right?
I basically take a management fee. It's about 20%, but yeah, that's exactly it. But I do charge a setup fee because I handle everything end to end, from the setup to the managing to the listing to everything. So it takes a lot of man hours to do that. And right now I'm still kind of one-man show, so I need to be compensated for that time for that setting all this up for them. So there's a setup fee, including all the rent and furnitures and whatnot they gotta pay. And then, after that, I'll take a management fee to continue managing it going forward.
That's pretty cool that you expanded that way. That's very creative. The whole idea is really creative. With where you're at now, you have 6 units that are your own. And then did you say 3 that you manage for others?
Yes. So 6 is my own money, and then 3 for other investors. And I'm going to do 3 more for 3 other investors. So it's about 2 units under management total.
Awesome. And what does that mean for you financially? I don't know if that's too vague of a question, because I think that it's a lot easier for a lot of people to understand what that would mean, like rental wise for income. Is this enough to sustain you, this, arbitrage system?
In terms financially, I slowly live off the income that I'm making from these units now. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, I think it's enough for me to sustain at least, like a 6-figure lifestyle. So I don't have any complaints on it. But I definitely want to continue to scale and grow it though, because really when I started doing this, I really don't do it for money. I've always been trying to find something that I can really just sink my teeth into and just lose, not keep track of time. And just do it, and this is something that I found and something I'm very passionate about. So I really want to scale units. Money is the second reason. The first reason is just because I simply love to grow and scale things.
Yeah, you're passionate about it. That comes through.
No, thank you.
With this setup that you have and the size that you're at, what are your current challenges that you're facing?
Great question. The challenges is 2. One is the messaging, and then second one is the maintenance and supply refills. Because the more you scale, the more back and forth you need to message with the tenants and make sure they can check in right, make sure that they are comfortable. When it's 1 or 2, you can do that fine. But now when I'm scaling up, I'm constantly getting pings on my phone like, hey, I can't turn on the light, things like that.
Stuff.
I'm like, well, have you tried screwing the light bulb in, pressing button, things like that?
Tried the switch?
The TV, turn it off, turn it on again.
That's funny.
That was fun. And then the maintenance side, I had a tenant break a whole vanity, a whole floating sink in the bathroom. It fell off the wall. So that was a lot of fun to deal with. I don't know what he was doing.
I don't even want to know. My brain goes so many places.
I'm like, wow, okay, well, let's just, call some contractors, see what's going on. first thing, you want to make sure the tenant is actually okay. So he was fine. He said I almost fell on his foot, which is, I'm super glad it didn't fall on his foot, because that would have been the whole legal battle or some other issue. So those two things, messagings and maintenance. And I'm getting to the point now where I'm kind of trying to hire out, get my time back, look at BAs from the Philippines or some other state, and just have them handle the messaging and the maintenance coordination. And after that, I can continue to grow it.
Yeah, that's definitely a challenge that comes with growth and figuring out how and what to delegate and to who and what kind of systems to set up for that. I will say shout out to my VA, Roxanne, who does so much for me. Yeah. And she's probably listening to this. And so love her. It wouldn't be possible without her. And once you get on the ball of like delegating, it's to me, very addicting. Like, what else can I delegate?
Yeah. Well, what do I hate?
I'm looking at this big pile of laundry behind the computer right now.
Yeah.
What can I not do?
That? Interesting you say that. There are laundry services that pick up laundry for you and then they'll drop it off.
I know. I've seen them advertised to me. And I haven't looked into it yet. Also, I live in the mountains and it's pretty remote. So,
okay, right. Yeah.
We don't even get DoorDash, nor do we have any drive-through restaurants.
Oh, no, that's tough. You can't have instant on-demand food?
No. The 2 grocery stores in town do not have apps nor websites.
Oh, wow. So interesting.
Yeah, it's teeny tiny. So that might be a little off in the distance. And for now, I'll do my own laundry, but I definitely understand that challenge of growth, right? Yeah, you're hitting a point where you don't have enough time to give the customer service that you want and to do all of the things and grow at the same time. So it sounds like you know what you need to do.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm getting real sick of time doing these messages. Yeah.
Share with the listeners and myself something that you are particularly proud of in this moment, something that you're proud of yourself for doing. Just have a little brag moment.
Really is stepping out of my comfort zone. That's and doing it, growing up, I was the shy kid. Can't look people in the eye. I couldn't even talk to grocery store workers asking where the rice is, and then and I would just walk around the whole store trying to find the rice, but doing this, I gotta face landlords, I gotta meet tenants, I gotta talk to maintenance workers, it really forced me to grow, and I love growing. I want to grow every single day. I feel absolutely dreaded when I'm not growing and I'm bored, So doing this is just one of the most fulfilling things I can say that I've done in my life, and get to meet cool people such as yourself, be on podcasts like this. This is what life is about to me. So I'm just so glad I went through this journey.
Oh man, well, thanks for the compliment, and I 100% agree. I have this philosophy: if I'm not growing, then I'm dying, right?
Exactly.
That's like life itself. So kudos to you.
Yeah, and I'm sure you had a lot of challenges that you had to go through as well, to get to where you're at right now. So
yeah, it takes commitment, courage to go from one place to the next. And I've shared this before, but the person I am today is not the same person that I'm going to be, that I need to be to take me to my next goals, right? I have to constantly be growing to become that person to do the things that I want to do. If that makes sense.
No, that makes perfect sense. So when sometimes I'll meet people that knew me before, right? They're like, wow, you changed, right? But they say it kind of like in a bad connotation. I'm like, oh, thanks. I did have. It's kind of sad that I did, right? It'd be sad you meet someone 5-10 years later and they're still exactly the same. That's what's sad. So
absolutely.
What you're saying is absolutely correct.
Yeah. Don't let those haters get to you, Fu.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So tell us some advice that you'd have for your 18-year-old self. We've kind of been hearing it here and there, but to go back in time and meet yourself, what would you say?
Definitely. I would tell him, hey man, the way you think and what you tell yourself is gonna be your reality, So if you keep telling yourself that you're gonna be a shy kid who can't talk to grocery store workers, well, that's what you're gonna be, right? But you tell yourself, and of course you have to reinforce it through consistent actions, not just sitting there meditating and somehow you would manifest, success. That doesn't work that way. But you have to believe that you can change and that you can do hard things, because everyone that you see that's successful started where you're at. All the successful public speakers that you see, or all the people who has a great business, didn't start off that way. They had to take incremental steps and do it. So, I would tell my 18-year-old self, whatever it is that you want to do, don't let the world and society hold you back. Just believe in yourself that you can do it. And eventually your external reality will reflect your internal one, and it's going to come to fruition. Yeah.
Yes, I appreciate you saying that, because with social media and all the news outlets, it's really just easy to see people's results or where they are now. And we don't see the behind the scenes struggles and breakthroughs and breakdowns. And so that is so true.
Nobody saw me, cutting my hands, opening cardboard, trying to set up the units. They only see the 9 units now, and it's about the journey. It's not about where you're at now. And I'm still going to continually develop. There's never going to be a point when I stop, so.
Perfect. So we heard advice to yourself at 18, which I think is very profound. Mm-hmm. Tell us some advice that you'd have for somebody who wanted to get into either short-term or mid-term arbitrage.
Oh, good question. Definitely do your due diligence, as with anything else. Look at your long-term rental rate. How much are 1-bedrooms going for long-term, and how much are Airbnbs around that area going for? And look at the spread, right? If it's a high spread, then you can make a profit on it, then go ahead and do it. But of course, you got to look at how to write the listing, how to do the Airbnb. So just do your research. Do step 1. Is there even a profitable market that you can do it in? Step 2 is what kind of items you're going to buy. And then step 3 is list it, and, just take the leap and go for it. And here's the thing. People are going to tell you that, the market is saturated. So many Airbnbs are up. Do not worry about market saturation, only worry about being the best. That's what I always say. Once you're the best, it doesn't matter how many other people are doing it, because if they do a crappy, poor job at it, they're not going to make it, but you will. There's still so many Airbnb listings that I see that have people taking photos on their own phone, and the lighting is crap. You can't even tell what you're looking at. And the listing has like 3 senses in it, and do it right, be the best at it, and you'll be fine.
You are speaking my language right now.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
So 2 things came to mind when you said that about not worrying about the competition, just worried about being the best. I was so naive when I got into real estate sales that when I became a realtor, that I didn't actually know how many people attempt and are realtors, or else I may have felt overwhelmed. I just went into it blindly, like, this is what I'm doing now. And then I did it. Right. And same with this podcast it was only after I had started that I went to look for our first episode after it published. And I'm looking and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, there are so many podcasts.
Oh, wait. Oh, so you didn't even know there was a lot of podcasts either?
No, I literally listened to maybe 5 podcasts. And I don't really venture out. They're mostly investing, right? And so I started going through Apple Podcasts and Spotify and seeing how many there are. And that kind of hit me there was that voice that was like, well, what makes you think that yours is going to be on par with these ones? And you know what? I've already started, got to keep going. So, consistency is key. And just like you said, don't worry about what everybody else is doing. You just worry about yourself, and the success comes. And I think that that's, such good, solid advice for people that live in fear of what everybody else is doing.
and I'm sure you start this podcast. It's just, something to do and it's fun. You enjoy it, right? And if it takes off, it takes off. But, seeing your setup and how you're already kind of doing things, that, I think you do great. So.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Another point that I want to touch on that I think is really cool about what you're doing is we both live semi in the same area, which is San Francisco Bay Area. And that's a really expensive market. And I'm sure that there's been a lot of people that you've come across. I see it on forums and online and people I talk to that are like, you can't make money real estate investing in the Bay Area because prices are too high, right? And then they end it there. There's no like seeking of other ways of other techniques. And I just feel like there's money to be made in any market. And that's geographic or, market cycle. There's always money to be made. It may just be a different strategy. And that's exactly what you plugged into with this, because if I'm not mistaken, you said that your rentals are in San Jose, right? And you do midterm, right? So I know, being a realtor, that San Jose has restrictions on short term.
Yeah.
Right?
Good thing you brought that up. Yeah.
Yeah. So you are not just navigating through an expensive market. As you mentioned, the homes a year and a half ago might have been $1 million or more, right? For single family homes. So you're navigating that, or bypassing that, I should say, and bypassing the short-term rental restrictions and still being successful.
When I found out that the city takes an additional 10% tax, 10 to 15% tax on short-term rental profits, I'm like, no way I'm giving that to the city. So I, researched the laws, and they say, bookings 31 days and longer, you don't do it. So that's when I'm like, I'm doing that. No way I'm gonna pay. So.
Otherwise, I think San Jose, and I might be wrong. I don't know if they've updated it, but I did look into it a couple years ago for some clients that I believe that San Jose says that if you're not living in the unit, you can only rent it out for 6 months out of the year. And if you are living in the unit, then you can rent it out, all year round, which is kind of a
and all those new regulations is just a massive headache, because it's San Jose, Campbell, Cupertino, they all have their different regulations as well. And I just found the ultimate bypass is just rent it for 31 days or longer. I don't want to deal with all that. But yeah, you're absolutely right. What you said before about how people have a very dead set mind where, home prices are too high, we can't do anything, or those are the people that would just never take action and they're armchair theorists, and those are the type of people that go maybe the rest of their lives just theorizing but never taking action. And what you said about too, what I love about this, just real estate in general, is there's so many ways you can repurpose a building. Because what I do is midterm rentals, but I've seen people convert it into like a photo studio, some units to a photo studio where people can come in and just rent for like 1 hour, but still get paid like $500 for that 1 hour. You can do things like that too,
Yes. Yeah, you're absolutely right. There's so many options. I forgot about that. I forgot what that is called. And there's like specific sites to that where you can just go.
There's absolutely that. You can arbitrage off that too. So
amazing.
Yeah.
So now I want to hear who or what has been your biggest inspiration in your journey so far?
My biggest inspiration, I don't have anyone in particular, but it's just investors, entrepreneurs, people who go out there and create their own life, create their own systems, and don't want to follow the beaten path. And meeting people like you, people like Brody, and every time I talk to someone like that, someone who's creating something, whether it's something financial or it's just something that's content related, that energizes me. It energizes me a lot more than sitting there and talking about the news and how much you hate your supervisor. That's just never been the life for me. I don't get that. I just don't get why you would go and work somewhere for 8 hours a day just to come home and complain about it. I'd rather do something like this where I can come home and feel energized and want to do more, and I can't stop doing it, and that, and I guess the book that really started all this, I would recommend is can I cuss?
Sure, I have it marked as clean.
I'll keep it the subtle art of not giving enough. I think,
Yes. Yes, I do. Uh-huh.
So once I read that book, I feel like it's such in my tonality and the way it was written. That was one of the first self-development books that I read. And after that, I read all the books, consumed tons of TED Talks and podcasts, and, just developed myself and went from there.
That's amazing. So I love that you're talking about, throughout this talk, your mindset and what you tell yourself. Mm-hmm. You also said you can't sit and meditate and things come true to you. So I'm curious, do you do affirmations?
I used to meditate, right? But in terms of affirmations, it's more of whenever I get a bad or negative thought saying that I can't do this or I can't talk to this person, I just kind of switch it and say, yes, I can. Why can't I? It's simply just go and do it. Like I've done so many things before. I've broken so many fallacies and limiting beliefs before. This is just nothing new. It's just you can do it. But in terms of affirmation and sitting there and reading some sentence 50 times, I tried it, but again, it didn't work as well as I thought it would. And meditations as well. I used to be very deep into spirituality, where there's the higher self. I don't know if you're into spirituality. I heard you studying on this. Yeah, well, there's like a higher self. There's like 7 levels of chakra, whatever it is, and they're all cool and fine and dandy. But yeah, I went through a period where I meditated as well, and I was still broke. So I'm like,
the money didn't magically come to you. It's what
so I'm like, there has to be more than just meditation. The way I use meditation now is to control my mind, right? Because we all have this mind that just chatters, just talks, all the time. And once I realized, and I'm going to that negative feedback loop, I spilled my drink in front of a group of 10 people. I'm so embarrassed. That's when I meditate to just calm the mind, to shut it off, to shut off the negative thoughts, so that I can focus on projecting the positive ones. I used to think that when I meditate, I can start floating, or that I can go through the 4th dimension or something, right? But again, after so many times of doing it and I couldn't fly, I'm like, okay, I gotta do something else.
I think at some point we all thought in our lives, I know me as a kid, I was like, if I just thought hard enough, I could start flying or move something across the room. So funny.
I wholeheartedly believed and wished that was true, but the older I got, the more I got shot down from that belief. But I just feel like the mindset that I have now is a lot more practical, I would say. I still believe in the spirituality. I still believe in, like, I guess, karma in a way. When you do something good, you get good things back. But it's more rooted in reality, where you do still got to take action. But I'm curious if you still meditate or you do affirmations. Since you brought it up, I think you did. Yeah, there you go.
I do affirmations, not like every day, but I have, I'll say like I am statements, like I am a great mom. I was about to cuss too. Yeah. I'm a bad egg. Real estate investor. Yeah. So, to like help with like identity statements. I like those a lot. Like, this is who I am and this is what I do. Right. And I like that energy being put out, but I think that you're right. It is a combination of your actions and your mindset. And sometimes, just getting your mindset right can cause you to take those bigger risks or those actions that are in line with the identity that you're, projecting or trying to, instill in yourself. And what I'm hearing a lot from what you're saying is a lot of self-awareness, recognizing these thoughts when they come up, right? Because that's like the first step in changing yourself and where your brain goes, is just recognizing those thoughts, because there's a lot of people and a lot of times in my life, especially previous, where those thoughts would control me. Those thoughts were who I was.
Yeah.
And if you don't have the self-awareness to recognize those thoughts when they come in and disassociate yourself with them and then discard them, right?
Yeah.
Then you're bound to live by the life that your brain creates, which is not fun. That's life by default and not design, right?
That's so cool. Yeah. So you're speaking my language. We can go for hours about spirituality and philosophy, but
yeah, I know. Let's get back to real estate. I'm related, I swear. I have some more questions here.
No, we can take it anyway. Yeah, we can take it to real estate.
Well, okay. So my next question on paper was a book recommendation, but you already went there with The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F. Which is a good book. I recommend that one also. It's very catchy with the title. So I think it caught a lot of attention.
Read. It's entertaining, you know?
Yeah.
You learn a lot from it too.
Tell me about something that you are currently obsessed with.
Obsessed with? Really just mindset and growing. That's my number one thing, because if you get your mind right and the way you think right, you can accomplish anything. I chose real estate because, or I chose rental arbitrage because that's just somehow I ended up there. But your mind starts at either the top or the bottom, but it's the beginning point, right? If you get your mind right, you can branch off to being a lawyer, doctor, engineer, SpaceX employee, whatever it is that you want. So I always like getting down to the root of things. So that's, again, I'm just obsessed with mindset because I just truly and wholeheartedly believe in that's the fundamental thing that will improve anybody's life, will give you the success you need, will give you the motivation and inspiration you need. Like no matter how many cold showers you take or how many external things you do, if you don't fix your mind, you're not going to be happy, right? Because some people can have, let's say they are like me, have 10 units, but they're still unhappy because it's not what they're doing, or they feel like they're striving for more. That's really just I'm deep into mindset stuff, but of course I'm still just learning a lot more about real estate and how I can grow the company better. So those two things is really what.
Two things came to my mind while you were talking about. Then the first is you're talking about the importance of mindset. Besides reading your book recommendation, The Subtle Art, what are some steps somebody could take that, wakes up one day and says, I want to change my mindset. I want to change where I'm going and I want to take control of my life. What would you say or advise?
It's a lot, right? First, you got to believe in change, enjoy change, and believe that you can change. Because without that, anything else you learn is pointless, right? You're not going to want to do it. If I give you 10 steps to a better life now, but you don't believe you can do it, then nothing's going to get done. So I really believe that the mind that you are born with is not the mind that you're going to have in the future. And your mind is never.
I like that. Yeah.
I like philosophy.
Yeah, that was deep.
Because you think about it, you don't like the same things as you do when you're a kid. You're not playing with Barbie dolls or G.I. Joes anymore, or Legos. We change, so we do naturally change. Now, are you gonna continue beating yourself up over something you did years ago, or are you gonna change naturally and go with the flow with time and continue to change into the path that you want, rather than just passively continue changing to more and more what you don't want to be? There is no magic formula, I would say. That's really my best tip. Believe in change, but also just study the mind, study yourself, and everything will come together for you. But again, also take action, because I know a lot of people who are armchair theorists who do kind of study philosophy, who, can recite the 10 chapters of Subtle Art of Not Giving an F, right? But you look at them, they're still doing the same thing or still complaining about life. I think that's
No, I think that's a great tip. That's a great tip to get started, is just simply believing that you can change. That's really powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's a compound effect. When you say that it's a lot, it's like a lot of little things. It's a lot of little things over time.
Yeah. And I'm not perfect, right? Sometimes I can feel myself getting angry. Sometimes I'm this and sometimes I'm lazy. Sometimes I'm not disciplined, right? But it's just the continual practice of bringing yourself back to where you want to go, and you're never going to be perfect, but
right. Okay.
sure.
Next question that we meant to get to, but we never got to.
Oh, okay.
Why would people not associate rental arbitrage with being real estate investing?
I think that's because people never wanted to change. People never changed, right? They always think that. You know?
Okay, all right.
They're stuck in their old ways and thinking that, oh, real estate has to be a certain way, it has to be a buy and sell property, and that's it, and renting, and that's it. You know, and they're not open to utilizing different methods or avenues.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because I was working as a leasing agent for a property management company before I started doing this, and I brought I brought it up to my property manager, like, hey, you know, can I like rent out one of the units that we are managing to try to do this arbitrage thing? And the manager, well, it was via email, and the manager wrote back like a whole essay on why I shouldn't do it and why this is a scam and why you should not do this because it's a quick, fast money thing and then it's never going to last. And look at how many people got burned. And that's when fear. Exactly. Exactly. That's you hit the nail on the head, you know. And that's when I just realized people are afraid of something new, something different. And look, when Uber first came out, people had, you know, resistance against that. Oh, what if you get kidnapped? What if this and that? You know, and it's just resistance to change. I think that's just most of the reason why people don't think arbitrage is not real estate.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that that's a really smart angle to come from with that, because you're right. The definition of what real estate investing is can change. There are people that say that flipping or wholesaling isn't investing either because they're not owning like the property like long term. Right. It's kind of like day trading. Is day trading investing?
Yeah. Like that. You know?
Right. It's kind of this, you know, in the same vein of that. And, you know, the fact that with arbitrage, you're not actually owning the land. So you don't get the tax benefits, right? The depreciation write-offs. You don't ride market appreciation as far as the value of the property since you don't own it, right? But you do benefit from the cash flow. You know, if we're defining real estate investing as making money from a real estate asset, then yes, it's investing. If our definition is just clean cut, you know, owning real estate, then no. But, you know, I think that the definition can be fluid. I would say that you're still an investor. You're investing your time, your energy, your resources, right? It takes money. It takes a lot of courage to contact as many owners as you did and get the rejection, which is very entrepreneurial, right? As investors, we face that rejection, and you had to go through that. And, you know, it sounded like it was a lot of no's before you got a yes. And so there's a lot of similarities, which is why I definitely wanted you to be on the show today, because I wanted, you know, hear more about it. Obviously, not a lot of people are doing this or talking about it. And it's kind of, like I said at the beginning, a little bit taboo. Is it investing? Is it not? It's risky. It's not. So I appreciate you sharing that about it.
Yeah, I'll let you dive deep a little bit that if you don't mind. What you said is absolutely true, and it struck the interest in me, I guess. What you said about how we define it, you know, how we define real estate is what we think, which is absolutely true, you know. And yeah, with what I do, yes, I don't get the capital appreciation for selling it, but I do get the appreciation in rental rates, right? And rental rates are continually going up. So I can appreciate that way. And then two is that it's not an asset. Each individual unit is not an asset that I can utilize, but in a conglomerate as a whole, it's a company that I can set buy and sell. So it is an asset in that way. But I will like what you said. Yeah, it's just how we define it and you know, and whatnot.
Yeah, I'll tell you, as a landlord, I wouldn't allow somebody to do that on my unit because I want that profit. I will do it.
So you're gonna do it yourself?
Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
So I'm in the process still. Hopefully by the time this airs, I will have somebody in the unit, but I am converting a long-term to a midterm. Awesome. Yeah, and managing that. But if there's a profit to be made, me as a landlord, I want that, right? But there's plenty of landlords that are like longtime landlords that just want their check, right? They're not interested in the extra time and energy that it takes to set that up and to communicate with the guests. And they just want set it and forget it, which I can respect that. And I like 100% understand, because I'm sure there will be a point in my life where that will be me. Right. I'm like, I don't care.
I'm sick of it. I don't want to deal with it no more.
Sipping smoothies on the beach, watching my grandkids, whatever. Just give me my money. I've owned this for so long. Right.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome to hear that you're gonna do it. I'm surprised why landlords aren't doing this either, to be honest. Because like for me to be able to do this, that means I have to make a profit on top of it. But if they already own the property, it would be so much more profitable. But again, some people aren't open to it. But that's good that you're doing yours. Yeah, I'll be here if you ever need help.
I forgot to mention that. Yeah, we didn't really talk about me. This is all about you.
Okay.
Yeah, I am. But like, as a landlord, that's what I'm saying. Like, I wouldn't allow it. I have it in my leases, like no subletting, because
that's what most do actually, so most do have a clause like that.
Shifting back, you told us a lot of great information about arbitrage and a lot of really interesting facts about you. I want to hear a boring fact about you now.
I guess you guys can see, I don't know if this is boring, but I do archery on the side.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's boring to a lot of people because really at the end of the day, archery is just throwing a stick around. But and that's also something that is one of my callings. I don't hunt. A lot of people ask if I hunt. I don't hunt. I don't have the heart for that. I just want to throw sticks around. So
okay. Yeah, I know my brother-in-law, he's out there. There's a short like bow season, I guess, before like deer season.
Hunts? Oh wow, okay.
So I know there's a season for bow hunting.
Yeah.
Not surprised that you get asked that. That is actually a very interesting fact. So I don't know if I give you points for that question.
Okay, one boring fact is I go to sleep at night, I guess.
Not what makes you like a normal human being.
Oh, man. Yeah, well.
Okay. We'll take that as like a little known fact that is outside of real estate.
Love it.
So what is next for Foodie?
Continue growing my company, continue expanding and making my company more known. My goal is to have 1,000 units. So everything that I do is based on having 1,000 units, which means I want all my systems and procedures locked down tight, automate everything, hire out whenever I need to. But you also mentioned that you met me or connected to me through Brody. And I really am appreciative that I met him because he and I are planning to go around to high schools and middle schools to, talk to these kids and inspire them to take the leap that we did, because we spoke at length about how we never had someone coming to us and talking about all this mindset stuff and all this beliefs and changing and all that. So I think it would be real cool to venture out to that as well and do, give talks and hopefully inspire some people.
Yeah, that's really cool. I love when he mentioned that. And I'm excited to see you two venture out and do that, especially because you're in my area. So I feel like, yes, enrich the community.
Yeah, I would love that,
Yeah, the area definitely needs that. Here in Silicon Valley, in the Bay Area, right? The gap between the have and the have-nots, the wealthy, the tech industry, right? And if you're not in tech, right, the gap is huge. And that's true in, a lot of really big cities like New York and such. So yeah, there's a lot of kids that need that. There's a huge need for almost like a big brother to come in, a rich dad, if you would say.
There you go. Yeah. I was a poor dad and I'm a rich dad, so I And I understand, but
Yeah, I think that's cool. So are you open to anybody reaching out to request those services?
it's
As
like
in,
thoughts.
like, for you to come in and talk to a group? I think outside of even schools, there's probably a lot of
Yeah.
organizations that could benefit from that.
Yeah, I'm always open. The reason why we wanted to do kids first is because we wanted to catch them when they were young, right? So that
Yeah.
they have a whole life of them to improve and grow. That's what Brody and I were talking about. But it's in my goal and my vision as well to do, maybe a TED Talk or maybe talking to these adults. But I'm always open to that. Oh, and quick plug, I am also looking for investors. If you guys want to invest, just reach out to me. I don't have a company social account yet, but you guys can reach out to me at the Philosopher on Instagram.
That is creative.
Yeah, thank you.
That's
The Philosopher.
PHU. Philosopher, like philosopher.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, we're gonna put that definitely in the show notes. You cut right to it. My next question was, how do people connect with you?
Oh, there you go.
Like,
yeah, I'm reachable by that. Or you can also, find my website with all my units. It's midmanhousing.staydirectly.com. It's a little long, but I'm working on that. You can find me on there. And so you can find me on Instagram or that website.
Yeah, so you're looking for investors for this midterm rental arbitrage here in the Bay Area. Are you open to other markets?
Not as of right now, preferably around in the Peninsula and South Bay Area. So anywhere from San Francisco to Oakland, maybe Berkeley, and all the way down.
Mm-hmm.
And the return on it for investors is anywhere from 20 to 30% cash on cash ROI. So, it's better returns than the stock market and slightly less risky. So if you guys are interested, to reach out to me.
Perfect. And they'll reach out to you either going to your website, which we will also have in the show notes, or go to your Instagram.
Yeah,
right?
or message me on Instagram.
Yeah. Send you a DM on Instagram.
Yeah.
Perfect. Slide in. Thank you so much, Fuli. This was amazing. Thank you for letting me pick your brain and ask you a bajillion questions. I know that we're going to hang up this call and I'm going to have even more. So let's keep in touch. And thanks again for coming on the Obsessed with Real Estate show.
Absolutely. Alana, it's been a pleasure. I had a lot of fun and, I hope you kill it out there. Got a lot of more awesome people and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. That is it for our interview with Fuli. I'm so happy that I got to meet him on this call today. He seems like a really cool guy. We could have talked for probably another hour, and now I have a lot of editing to do because this episode was probably way too long. But if you enjoyed it, please leave a 5-star review and be sure to subscribe. Doing so helps me reach more listeners and watchers, and I'd really appreciate that. Thank you so much for listening. And if you wanted to connect with me, you can find me on Instagram at AlanaGeorge_real estate, as well as on TikTok. You can head over to the show website, obsessedwithrealestateshow.com, and you can apply to be a guest on the show or just give us some feedback. I'd love it. Also, if you'd like to invest with me, check out clearconnectioncapital.com and we can connect that way. Thanks again. I will see you on the next one.